The Rolling Stones kicked off their Hackney Diamonds tour with a 2-hour show at NRG Stadium that included all of the sing-along classics, a few rarities, and lots of Houston shout-outs. Mick Jagger, who turns 81 this year, continues to defy time, and quite frequently gravity. He remains as lithe and limber as a dancer half his age, cavorting across the stage and contorting his body into extreme yoga poses. That elastic energy coursed through show opener, "Start Me Up." Jagger wore a silver jacket that he quickly removed and black skinny jeans held up with a Texas-sized buckle branded with an M. He frequently stuffed his microphone into the waist of his pants as he danced. The Stones last played Houston in 2019 at the same venue and made their debut July 11th, 1966, at the Sam Houston Coliseum. Fans throughout the stadium traded stories about how many times they'd seen the band. There were countless shirts featuring the iconic mouth logo. Stoic men clutched bags full of merch. Pits of fans congregated near the foot of the stage and at the back of the floor, separated by several rows of seats. A large runway jutted out from the main stage. Gary Clark Jr. opened the show with a 45-minute set that showcased his terrific guitar work on songs that sound as if they could soundtrack a big-budget superhero movie. His version of Come Together was in the 2017 Justice League film. He started just before 8 p.m. with Maktub from his JPEG Raw album released last month. Clark was joined by fellow Austinite Na'ala for This Is Who We Are, a dramatic duet. He lapsed into a Prince-esque falsetto for Feed the Babies, and channeled a bit of Sly Stone during What About the Children? Clark told the crowd the original version features Stevie Wonder, who is not here, he joked as he gestured backstage. "You're gonna know my name," he sang during Bright Lights. It was likely a fact by the end of Clark's set, judging by the crowd's enthusiastic response. The energy rattled the highest sections of the stadium when an announcer bellowed, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones!" The trio of Jagger, Keith Richard, and Ronnie Wood, accompanied by the rest of the touring band, walked on stage at 9:15 p.m. and never let up. "This is the first show of our Hackney Diamonds 24 tour. We're so glad that we're doing it right here in Texas," Jagger said. Every song had its own unique energy, the anthemic bounce of Get Off of My Cloud, a jangly Rocks Off, the driving chorus of Mess It Up, the first of 3 songs from last year's Hackney Diamonds album. Jagger introduced Out of Time as a pretty old and ancient tune, 1966 to be exact. They'd never performed in the US, and was surprised when much of the crowd eventually sang along. They followed it up with Angry, another cut from Hackney Diamonds. Richards took lead vocals on Little T and A. Each city on the tour will vote for one song to be added to the set list. Houston's pick was Beast of Burden, performed as a playful back and forth between Jagger and backup singer Bernard Fowler. "And you got one more vote. Don't forget to vote in November," Jagger told the crowd. He strapped on an acoustic guitar for a twangy "You Can't Always Get What You Want," before telling the crowd about his visit to NASA. Jagger also shouted out the great new Texans uniforms, and said he'd visited Ninfa's and tried the Tranquilita Margarita, a cannabis-infused drink without alcohol. "I had 3, I was floating," Jagger said. The show's second half was an oral history of rock and roll. Sympathy for the Devil gave way to a searing Gimme Shelter duet with Chanel Haynes, an astonishingly powerful backup vocalist. The New Orleans native, formerly of gospel group Trinity 5-7, returned later as a stand-in for Lady Gaga on new song Sweet Sounds of Heaven. Even Jagger at times seemed in awe of her. Almost 2 hours in, Jagger and the band's energy remained constant from song to song, from the disco funk of Miss You to the roiling power of Paint It Black to Set Closer, I Can't Get No, Satisfaction. The band and the crowd could have probably gone until the sun came up.